Welcome to Black Sheep's Time to Shine. My name is Jared Mello, and this is the place where all the different kinds of black sheep can come together, judgment-free. And please remember that the little things in life do indeed matter. If we can't do the little things right, we're not going to be able to do the big things right. It's why I carry these wands around all the time as a reminder to myself. Now today we're going to touch on a very important topic, and it's how to identify and spot 10 red flags of a problematic narcissistic individual. Now, before I get into the 10 red flags, though, know that there will be some nuance involved. Any one of us could display a couple of these or one of these at any given time. But if someone's going to present a majority of these and consistently, that's a problem. But these are 10 red flags to watch out for. And the first one is they are very controlling. A narcissistic person, almost everything they do is going to be about control. They want to be in control of a relationship. They want to be in control of much of their life as possible. And one of the ways to see how badly they are controlling is to see how they act when they don't get their way. When things don't go the way they want them to go, how do they handle it? Do they lose it? Do they fly off the handle? Do they get really abusive or angry? Take note of how they handle things that don't necessarily go their way. And also, if you're a woman and you're looking out for a guy who may be controlling, see how he treats you. Is he very demanding and pushy with what he wants you to do? Do things have to be a certain way at a certain time? Just things to really look out for. Number 2, place a boundary or tell them no and see how they respond. Now, I don't ask people to do this as a test. This should be something that just comes up normally in the course of an interaction with somebody eventually. If someone's a healthy adult, they're going to have boundaries. And there may be a time eventually where you say no. And when you place a boundary or you say no, see how they handle that. Can they respect your boundary? Or do they do some sort of manipulative tactic? Do they play the victim? Do they deflect? Do they guilt trip? Do they blame shift? Do they gaslight? Do they flip the script back on you in some way? Whatever it is, pay attention to how they handle boundaries or being told no. Because someone who's more on the narcissistic side, they're going to struggle to be calm and to respect boundaries without it being some sort of production. So pay attention to that as well. Number 3, disagree with them on a point. See how they handle a conflict. And a lot of people who are narcissistic, they really can't handle it when someone has a different opinion than them. They need the other person to agree with them, or they just fly off the handle. They're not good at the old agree to disagree part. They want people to think as they think. They want people to confirm to them, yes, my reality is correct, my opinion's correct, you better agree with me. So pay attention to how they handle disagreements, because if every disagreement you have turns into a fight, major red flag. After a honeymoon period, there will be conflicts. There will be disagreements. And a lot of how you work with someone, how good of a teammate you are with them, is how do you handle those disagreements. So pay attention to how they handle disagreements with you. It'll be a good indicator of how they will probably do it down the line. Number 4, hobbies. Many people who have narcissism, they don't have many hobbies, if any, that don't lead directly to a source of narcissistic supply. Many, instead of hobbies, will drink, do drugs, gamble, womanize. But those are the things that a narcissistic person, those are the things that they do often to replace a hobby. And I made a video before about how the gym doesn't count. That's not to say just because you go to the gym, that does not mean you are a narcissist. But what I will say is going to the gym could be something narcissistic people do because it helps their body look good and can give them a source of supply. So pay attention if they don't have any hobbies, much of what a narcissistic person will do will be about power, control, money, supply, romantic relationships, sex. Almost everything they do revolves around obtaining those things. And hobbies that don't lead to any sources of supply, that's something to look out for. And a lot of times they will also take pictures all the time, and that kind of shortcuts it. So to say they do a hobby, but they can't do it without taking a picture of it, that's another something to look out for. And again, some of this stuff is pretty common, unfortunately, but cumulatively, these 10 red flags are something that we should be watching out for. Number 5, friends. A lot of narcissistic individuals, they are more the lone wolf type. Or if they do have friends, they are friends that they think they are better than. Think to the movie Beauty and the Beast, and there's Gaston and his little 3-foot-tall flying monkey that basically agrees with Gaston, everything he says, and how Gaston's the best. That's someone who has true NPD. They're not going to have too many friends of equal footing to them. They'll often maybe have friends that they think they are better than. Part of the reason of this is because a lot of times a narcissist, they are not very good at feeling happy for the success of others if they think that person is doing better than them. They can feel happy for people that they are doing better than, but if someone's doing better than them, pay attention to how they act towards that person. Oftentimes, they will be pretty jealous in that regard. Number 6, can they admit they are wrong? This is a humongous one because if they can't admit they're wrong, that means every conflict, every disagreement will be a humongous battle filled with gaslighting and manipulation tactics. And that's a major headache. But for them to say they are wrong, that's a good thing to notice if they can admit when they're wrong. If they can't admit when they're wrong, watch out. Number 7, are they entitled? Now, entitlement can look many different ways, but one way, for example, is say if you're a guy and you just meet a woman and you get upset with her for not responding to you fast enough. And basically, what you're communicating is you expect that girl to be a priority to you instantly, that you should be a priority in her life instantly. That's entitlement. Now, there's other examples of entitlement too, of course, expecting special treatment for no reason, but it's something to watch out for when someone expects to be treated like a king or a queen and they haven't really done anything to deserve it. This leads right into number 8 here too. So the number 8 red flag to look out for is, how do they treat the little guy? So when they're in a restaurant and say things don't go their way in the restaurant, how do they treat their server? I tell people, pay attention to how people treat others that can do nothing for them, because character is how we treat others that can do nothing for us. And a narcissistic individual, they often know who they have to be nice to. But when they don't have to be nice to for whatever reason, watch out to how they treat them. Do they treat them like a punching bag? Do they treat them like they're dirt, like they're 1,000 times better than them? Or do they treat them with respect? And it's like the saying, you should treat the janitor with the same level of respect that you treat the CEO. Something to watch out for. And then finally, 2 more here. Number 9. The number 9 red flags is, do they say all of their exes are crazy? Now, granted, there are people who have had narcissistic exes, but here's the thing about that though. When someone has done the work on themselves, they know to take a look at their side of the street, because it's very, very rare that someone is 100% guilty and the other side is 100% innocent. A mature way to look at it is, hey, yeah, I could have done better in my past relationships, but I've done the work on myself. And they don't talk badly about their past partners. A narcissistic person will say, more than likely, all of my exes were crazy, And they may also call all of them narcissists. Part of being a mature adult would be not talking badly about the exes, just saying, hey, things didn't work out. I wasn't perfect in the relationship either, but I have worked on what I can work on, and I've worked on my side of the street. So pay attention if they call all of their exes crazy, blame them, not taking any responsibility for their side of the street, calling them all narcissists perhaps. And again, I can hear some of you thinking, yes, my exes all were narcissists though. But here's the thing. If we've continually found the same kinds of partners, chances are there's something that we need to be working on. And so that is something that we have to take a look at. That's on our side of the street. And then lastly, do they get angry if we match their actions? One of the best ways to tell this is narcissistic people, they love pointing out flaws and shortcomings of others. And they love picking and poking and prodding. So they might do this about your appearance. They might do this about the cleanliness of something. But they do it in a lot of ways, especially after the initial love bombing period is over. They're always pointing out flaws and insecurities, and then they blow them up. And what will happen is it will come off like you're always guilty of something. You can't make them happy. And it seems like there's always going to be something you've done wrong. So say if you were to point out a flaw that they have, doing something that they have done to you a lot, how do they handle that? When you do something that they do all the time, do they get really upset? Because that would be a major red flag. If we match their actions and they get really upset, that is something to not ignore. It's kind of a form of their entitlement where they think they can treat people any way they want, but no one can treat them the way that they treat other people. That's basically what they're communicating when they act like that. It might not be part of their conscious awareness, but one of the best ways, or the most obvious ways that kind of attitude shows up is when they get angry when someone matches their actions. So let's reiterate here the 10 red flags. So that one was matching their actions. If they match their actions and they get mad, that's a major problem. Being very controlling, watching out how that displays itself. Are they very pushy? How do they act when things don't go the way they want them to go? Place a boundary or tell them no. See how they respond. See if they can handle it without gaslighting, flipping the script, or using some sort of other manipulative tactic. Disagree. See how they handle disagreements. Can they disagree in a healthy way? Or does everything have to turn into some battle to the death where every hill is a hill to die on? Do they have any hobbies? Do they have any hobbies that don't lead to narcissistic supply? Or is everything they do about power, money, status, control, supply? Because that would be a major red flag. Do they have friends that they are on equal footing with? Many narcissistic people are absolutely lone wolves, or they have friends that they think they are better than, because often they're not very good at showing happiness for other people's success. They get very jealous. Also, can they admit when they are wrong? A lot of narcissistic people, it is like acid in their mouth to admit they are wrong, so they never do. And then, are they entitled? Do they expect special treatment? Do they expect to be treated like a king or queen for nothing? Another big one to watch out for. And then, how do they treat the little guy? How do they treat people that can do nothing for them? How do they treat a server? How do they treat that server when things don't go their way? This is another extension of the entitled attitude. And then finally, do they say, are all of their exes crazy? Are they the innocent one, and all of their exes were always the problem? A healthy adult will say, yeah, I wasn't perfect in those relationships either, but I've done work on myself. And chances are they won't be talking too much about exes in the beginning anyway. But if you notice them blaming all of their exes for their relationship problems, especially in the beginning, a major red flag. So those are the 10 red flags to definitely take note of. If someone brings up one of these or two of these occasionally, okay, it's something to watch out for. But if they're starting to do more than 5 of these, and you start to see them fairly regularly, Watch out and do not ignore that. So if you got this far, please remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you liked it. Hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when I come up with more videos. And share this video with others that you think could benefit from learning about all of these red flags. And comment below if you think I missed any. But I think this list of 10 right here, it's a pretty good start if you ask me. And I think of all the narcissistic people I've ever met, they would have failed at least a few of these in the beginning. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great rest of your day.